Hello and welcome to Builder with Ben. In this episode I'm going to give you my 5 top tips for how to improve your building on Sims 4. These are 5 things that will immediately make your build so much better. Here they are. More like this. New lights. Check that out. So professional. So these are 5 tips, just some kind of things I've learned in the last year. I only started playing Sims last March, so it's been for pretty much the entire pandemic I've been playing Sims. I played it like a little bit as a kid, but not really as a teenager and adult. And then PlayStation gave it away for free last year, and I just kind of got addicted to it. So these are the 5 things that I've picked up in the last year that I think have really helped improve my builds. Number 1, realism. In the past I've done a lot of building on Minecraft, and one of my biggest rules for building in Minecraft was it has to look real. It has to look like something that could actually exist and not just completely crumble. And the problem with Minecraft is that the physics in that game are so loose that you can build things that are very unrealistic. So you could build like a house that's just hovering in the air, for example. Now I think if you want to make things look good in a game like Minecraft, you should make it look like it could actually support itself in real life. So I've kind of taken that mentality into Sims as well. So you could build like a very, very small first floor and a massive second floor, but that's going to look a bit strange, especially without like supports, beams and stuff kind of holding that up. A really big tip for that is just look at real buildings. Use real buildings for inspiration. I've done that a few times. I've found a really cool looking house online and I've just tried to replicate that house. Number 2, appropriate lighting. This is something that's really helped me improve my builds, to be honest. When I first started playing, I didn't think the lighting mattered. I just put, the saucer lights everywhere because it makes everything look well lit, and that's all I wanted. But as I've gone on, I've realised that actually choosing the right light can really help make a room look nice. There's a thing called painting with light, and I think that's in the field of architecture. And it's where sometimes you don't necessarily need paint to make an area look colourful, but you can do it with light instead. And different lighting can give different moods to a room. So for example, in bedrooms, I find it's really good to put lamps in there, rather than like one big room light that makes the whole room look very bright. Instead, it's kind of nice to have a little lamp. It produces less light and it kind of makes it look a whole kind of softer feel to the room. So basically, don't just use one big light in a room, kind of place them nicely. Think about, is this room somewhere where a wall light is going to look best? Because a wall light is going to make it look a bit softer. Or do you actually want it to be bright? Do you want it to be a big modern kitchen that you want to be bright? In which case, maybe use one of the saucer lights. Number 3, clutter. Chuck in tons of clutter. This is something I didn't do at the beginning. I just kind of built plain rooms, filled them with the furniture and stuff, but then never added anything else. But my God, clutter can really, really help. It makes an area look lived in. It makes a room look lived in. In a kitchen, a normal person's kitchen, you'd have pots and pans everywhere. Things on the wall, things, on the counters, and just adding little bits like that can just make it look so much more realistic. This also extends to curtains, rugs, things like that. Things we could actually put in a real house. I made the mistake of having tons of windows in my buildings and then forgetting to put curtains up. I was like, realistically, you would want blinds, you would want curtains and stuff in a house. And just remembering to add things like that just makes it look so much more realistic. Number 4, colour schemes. This is a bit of a difficult one for me. I find it quite hard to do it. But basically, I think you want to choose 2 or 3 colours that you kind of want to focus on in your build. And don't make it all one colour. I think all one colour looks weird. I think you want to try and pick some complementary colours. Blue, purple, pink, for example. They kind of all mix together nicely. Green, yellow and kind of browns, they're nice. Try and coordinate that colour across the room. So like have one colour for the furniture, for example, and a different colour for the rugs. And it's just another thing where you got to experiment with it really. Like some things are going to look good, some things aren't, but just try it and just see what happens. Sometimes you don't expect a certain colour to work within all the other colours, but then you try it and actually it looks okay. When it comes to colour, there's a whole area of colour theory. It's the kind of thing you could take a degree on. I don't pretend to understand it, but there's different ways that colours can kind of match up with other colours. And some of them you've heard of, like complementary colours, for example, is one of these different kind of colour theories that you can apply to how colours relate to each other. There's a really good site called colour.adobe.com And in this, they've got all the different kind of colour theories as I think of them. So they've got analogous, I can't say that, I'm definitely saying that wrong. Monochromatic, triad, complementary, split complementary, double split complementary, square, compound, shades. But it's really good for inspiration because you can just come in, pick a colour you like and just see what other colours it gives out on you. And then like try, you know, different colour theories, different colour wheels as well. Like go on to split complementary and see what that throws up. It's just a really good way to get inspiration. Number 5, cheats. So important, so important. I didn't realise how important they were going to be when I first started. So if you don't know these already, these are just game changers. First, if you're on PC, Control Shift C, type that in first. Then that brings up the dialog box. You can then type in testing cheats space true. That enables cheats. And then the main cheat that's helpful when it comes to building is bb.moveObjects on. And this means you can free place items more. So without this cheat, you're not able to place like a door in a certain spot, for example, if it might be overlapping another object or something like that. This cheat allows you to do what you want. It just kind of frees the whole thing up. So that's something I do quite a lot as a first priority when I go on a new build, is just get that bb.moveObjects on, because it just makes everything so much easier. One really handy thing is pressing Alt whilst placing an object, because that means it won't be snapped to the grid. You can just place it freely anywhere. That one's really useful. And you can get very creative with that, not being on the grid. I didn't even realise that was possible for months. And once I realised that, I was like, oh, wow, that's a bit of a game changer. As is resizing objects. So you can press Shift and the brackets, and you can make objects bigger and smaller. And you can also move them upwards and downwards by pressing the numbers. Now this is also really useful. I've used this on my Hogwarts build, because I want to try and make the Chamber of Secrets, which has got a giant head in it. And I didn't know how to accomplish that. But then I managed to get a gnome, and then just made the gnome giant and also put him lower into the floor. And that actually worked really effectively. So those were my 5 top tips for building on Sims 4. Hope that was useful. I'm still learning all this myself, basically. But those are the 5 things I've discovered over the last year that have made my builds like so much better immediately. So try them out. And if you've got any other tips for me, because I still feel kind of new to Sims, frankly, if you've got any tips for me on other things I can do to make my builds better, or how debug items work or something, then let me know, because I'd be really happy to hear that. I also want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's followed me from Instagram. I know I bugged a lot of people by sending the link out, but you've all had a really nice response. And yeah, I kind of operate on a subscribe for subscribe basis. So if you subscribe to me and you have a YouTube channel that you also want me to subscribe to, I'm more than happy to do that. So just comment below and let me know, and I will subscribe back. I'm very happy to do that. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more to come.